kind of looking for opportunities that didn't necessarily require a ton of my own time, basically kind of more of a passive investment option.
What progress have you seen just in terms of store setup, sales, maybe profit?
I mean, it's been nice to watch, even still early on, like month 1 to month 2 to month 3, just to see that build up and that progress happening. That kind of, you're hands off with it, but it's still fun to kind of go look and just see like, okay, here's what's happening. The orders are increasing, and starting to see the profits.
Do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, if somebody's in a position where got some money they want to put to work that they don't want to necessarily, have to be the one running the show on, that, they want to look for some passive income, to say, yeah, jump in and, give it a shot. And, I think things look up, that it's on the right track. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
But yeah, just to kick it off, Brian, if you just want to introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about you, your background. I'd love to hear that first.
My name is Brian Prete, and I'm an accountant. I've done tax accounting for, I guess, coming up on about 20 years now.
And I guess what made you start looking into an opportunity like this, or, just another kind of source of income for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, that really was what it was. And specifically, I was, kind of looking for opportunities that didn't necessarily require, a ton of my own time, that, basically kind of more of a passive investment option. And so, just kind of looking at things, and this seemed to be a kind of a good fit for that, to, kind of put some of my money towards that, and then kind of let it work behind the scenes, if you will.
Exactly. Yeah. So far, I know you've been in for maybe 4 or 5 months now.
Yeah. About 4 months, I think. Yeah.
Cool. And I know kind of actually at the start is probably the most work, but how passive has it been so far?
Yeah, right. Like you said, that, the very first part with some of the onboarding, there's a little bit more involvement, I would say, just to get the stores kind of seasoned, right? With the
Right.
term used. And, but overall, yeah, the team has really just jumped in and, basically handled kind of everything. I mean, maybe here or there's like a little something, or, that I'm involved in a little bit, but really it's pretty hands off, which is, kind of what I was looking for.
Awesome. Awesome. And what made you, I guess, choose Ecom Accelerator over some of the other options you were looking at?
Yeah, I did look. I mean, I know there's a bunch of them out there, so I didn't,
No.
necessarily go through every, but I did talk to a few different people, and um, I guess I mean, to be perfectly frank, part of it was just when I met with you initially,
Yeah.
I felt like you were, pretty straight up about it, and didn't, kind of beat around the bush much, as far as, this is kind of how the process works. And, I guess I like that kind of thing where, you feel like you're kind of being told straight up. And honestly, it's
So,
kind of worked out that way. I would say, kind of everything is, I know it's still early and we're not really seeing it's going to take a while for these stores to continue to ramp up, but really it's kind of, worked out just like we kind of talked through. So,
excellent. Yeah. I try and be as blunt and honest about the realities of this business as possible. So, whenever people do go through that first, 4, 5, 6 months of, it's not super exciting, right? But you see the progress every day. It's, hey, this is exactly what Cameron or his team told me.
right.
So, and how many stores do you have now? I know you mentioned a couple rounds of stores.
So with the ones we're just getting set up now, that, I mean, I guess we're not necessarily even like in full, like we're just kind of in the seasoning process, I guess.
Right.
I'll have 4 total eBay stores, 2 under me and 2 my wife, and then 1 Poshmark each as well. So,
Amazing.
yeah, so I think that'll, once we really ramp up, because Kyle, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He reached out to me and just said, "Hey, we're happy to get you going on more here." And I said, "Okay, that probably makes sense. I mean, why not just scale this up, I guess, right?"
Sure.
So, yeah,
Yeah. I always tell folks whenever I meet with them is like, hey, we want to partner with as few people as possible to do as many stores.
yeah. I mean, that
'Cause
it's kind of a win-win from both sides, right? It's a win
correct.
for me to have more, and it's also less for you guys to, to deal with, I guess, as far as like,
Exactly. More,
yeah,
I don't want to
sure.
say more clients, more
Right.
problems, but obviously if you only have to deal with
Yeah.
400 people and you can get 3,000 stores. What has, I guess, impressed you the most from the team?
I'd probably just say that I mean, they seem to really be on top of stuff. I mean, if I've got a question, you know, I'll shoot it over in the WhatsApp and they'll, almost always within a pretty short time, I mean, that same day, but, often within an hour or two, I mean, I can get answers to questions. So it's it's nice when you kind of feel like, they're your advocate, I guess, kind of in a way, like
Yeah,
where they're there to support you and, kind of help you along the path, especially early on, just as we're kind of getting set up. I don't know. I'm one that likes to, even though I kind of the idea is to be hands off, but I still kind of want to know what I'm getting into. So I had, a handful of questions on things just to
100%.
fully understand the process. And, I think they've all just been just super great from that standpoint, just, really willing to jump in and help and, kind of make it a good partnership.
Amazing. And then I guess if we just want to shorten this into a nice kind of thing, what progress have you seen just in terms of store setup, sales, maybe profit, um, accounts open, etc.?
Yeah. It's only been, I think, probably 3 solid months since we kind of got everything seasoned and now, actually, increasing the listings and seeing, actually sales start to happen. And so, I mean, it's been nice to watch, even still early on, like month 1 to month 2 to month 3, just to see that build up and that progress happening. And,
Yeah,
I think from kind of some of the P&Ls that you've shared before, probably start to see that scale up even quicker once we reach, the full listings and
correct.
but yeah, it's like I said, kind of you're hands off with it, but it's still fun to kind of go look and just see like, okay, here's what's happening. The orders are increasing, and starting to see the profits build
Cool.
up.
Did you have any doubts or concerns before joining?
Yeah, I would definitely say there was some doubt, there early on, even as I committed and even started seeing the process start to go. But now a few months in, you kind of really see it, in action, and that's kind of taken away those doubts. So.
Would do you have any advice for someone who's thinking about doing this?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, if somebody's in a position where they've, like got some money they want to put to work that they don't want to necessarily, have to be the one running the show on, that, they want to look for some passive income, that this has been, a great opportunity. And I mean, I can't fully speak to the, with only a
Yeah, 2 years down the road.
like where I'll be, yeah, like a full year from now, but at least based on where things are tracking, I'd say, yeah, jump in and, give it a shot. And, think things look up, that it's on the right track. So excited to see where it goes from here.
Awesome. And then any final thoughts on the experience so far, the company so far, how we're doing?
Yeah, I think overall, I've just been pretty pleased. Like I said, kind of what I've said already a little bit, but I'll reiterate, is just the team's been great to work with. I think the progress of the stores are coming along nicely. I think as expected, from what I've kind of been told on, how the ramp up process typically works. There's some variation there, obviously, store to store.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, things are tracking nicely, and yeah, pretty happy with just where we're at overall. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Fun. Well,
Great.
yeah, fantastic chatting, and yeah, feel free to text me if you ever want to reach out. But sounds like team is taking good care.